Well, I think initially I was planning on opening our Hawthorne store here, like signing the lease the March of COVID. So this has been on my radar for years, and then I mean, we were down to brass tacks, like ready to sign, and it was the same day, I kid you not, as the day that the mayor forced us to shut down. And I was like, all right, this is a sign. This is a very clear sign that we need to reflect. And, you know, and everything was put on hold, obviously, as everyone knows. So, you know, we did that, and then we just kind of like sat back and chilled out and like just kind of watched what was happening, and put a ton of work into our online store and all that, like everybody did. And then I remember I was driving around and listening to a podcast, and I was on the plaza at Maiden Casey Marketplace at the time, which I love, and I still have a wonderful relationship with those guys. And it was like, okay, like we know the negatives of COVID. What are some of the positives of COVID? You know, like what are the moments where like, you know, are there opportunities? Are there things that you could do differently to set you apart? You know, it's like the good thing about being a smaller store is we can start selling masks at a drop of a hat. We just need to order them, and we can get them in, and we can put them on the floor within a couple weeks. You know, and then all of a sudden we have a whole new category that people need and they want, you know, or yeah, so things like that. And so anyway, I was driving around, and they were talking about kind of the power that you have as a tenant with your landlord, and that kind of dynamic is shifting because there's such a mass exodus of people shifting and not knowing what they want to do. And I was like, well, I wonder how much a store on the plaza is. Like, you know, like total, like this was not on my radar at all. And I just called my favorite broker, Tiffany, who does all the things, and she was like, yeah, they're actually offering some COVID rates, and it's, you know, it's not a permanent store if you want to try it. And I was like, okay. And then, so it's more of like an opportunistic strategy. It's not like, you know, you can't really plan. So that's kind of what happened. And then I'm really excited that we just converted to a permanent lease on the plaza.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I was really proud of that. It took many years to like figure that out and nail it down, but we just executed that. So we are now a permanent tenant. But yeah, to answer your story, there isn't any strategy. It was more just opportunity.
Well, but you know, it's funny because as I moved to Joni, and you know, new kid on the block and everything, you know, on this block, and Joni and I actually are both in Vistage. We're not in the same group, but we have the same Vistage chair. And Vistage is for CEOs, and it's interesting because like my Vistage group, I am the only woman in that one. So 19 of us, and it's men. And one of the things that they have even said, it's not just that I've noticed, is as we talk through things, they're like, oh, I didn't think of things like that. I didn't think of things like that. And I think that that's part of women in business and women ownership is that creative thinking, you know, that I've got to have my inventory, that, you know, hey, well, what if we did this? You know, maybe I can negotiate. And, you know, same thing for you. It's a big lead up into you, Joni, but, you know, you kind of talked a little bit, you know, about what caused you to, you know, drove your decision to open your own retail location, but just talk about it a little bit more about kind of what you've experienced and what you've seen and what that's contributed to, you know, the clientele that you serve.